Today I'm going to show you 4 builds that I've made when I started out in woodworking. These are all simple beginner level projects. They're easy to sell, whether it be online or at a market store like I do. The cash I've generated from these sales, I've been able to reinvest into better or more tools in my workshop. So let's get going with project number 1. This is a stove cover, or for those of us in the UK, it's a worktop cover. This sits neatly above your cooker or your hob top, and it allows you, particularly in a small kitchen, to have that little bit more bench space when you're not cooking. So step 1 is quite simply take your chosen wood, in this case pallet wood, cut it into thin strips and then glue it all back together as one solid piece. Once you're out of clamps, it's on to some sanding. Now if you've managed to keep this flat, it shouldn't be too onerous. However, if not, go with a really low grit and work your way up higher each time. If you've got one, I like to glue things up into small batches first and then run them through the planer. This wood muncher was one of the first investments I made into this workshop, and if you're in a position to do so, I would highly recommend it, as this saves you plenty of time planing stuff down and keeping it smooth. Once you're happy with the state of your slab, you need to go on and make some sides and a back. I've used the same process with pallet wood for this as I have for the slab. I measured these out, taking a referential measurement, double checking that everything fits as I liked it before coming back and attaching it on with glues, clamps and some small screws coming in from the rear. I always come back with a final hand sanding. I also like the fact that I can just knock down those edges without going over the top like you can with an orbital sander. The choice of finish is down to yourself, but I went with a light oak. I love projects like these because the outlay is so minimal. I managed to sell 10 of these in my area at 25 each. I'm quite happy with the £250 I've got back to reinvest into the workshop. Project 2 is a man stand or night caddy. This is the type of thing that you put on your bedside table to put your phone, your watch, your keys, your wallet, whatever you want. These are great as gifts, which is why people buy them. You can send them for Christmas, birthdays, Father's Day, you name it. It'll come in handy for that type of occasion. So like most projects that I sell, I keep my cost down by using the materials that I've got available. Here I've managed to find a bit of leftover 18mm ply. This will do great for a project like this. So nothing's glued together yet. I've just got my set square holding a few bits together, making sure that the back's square to 90. And then for the phone to hold on to, just want this little piece in here. But then I've got this right unsightly gap there. So after a bit of messing about, I decided that the best angle, quite simply just 245 bevels on it. That way it sticks nice and flush there, without me having to do too much maths. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I just want to build a little drawer on here. Wallet can sit on top, and a little drawer with a bit of space for some odds and sods, some bits and bats, all that you might need just hanging around. So I'm going to offer this up, make some markings, back onto the mitre saw and I'll get them cut down to size. So as a rough design, it's sort of coming together now. One's going to sit there, all little keys on top of there, and a little drawer there. Well, after a boatload of sanding, it looks like we're finally getting there. Don't really want to sand it too much, but we're all a bit scuffed and all a bit dirty, so just took it down gently, down to 150 grit. What I will say is it's amazing how much dust just a bit of light sanding makes. And after a loose fit, it's time to move on to gluing. Now I bought these corner clamps as a Christmas gift one year. Don't buy them. More hassle than they're worth. Just get some normal clamps and make some right angled jigs. Or you can buy them. Time to move on to the little drawer now, and I've got some 3mm ply that I've cut into a base, 2 sides, and I'll sort a piece of the plywood out for the front drawer. Now I like to round over all the edges. There's nothing worse than getting a negative review because somebody's caught themselves more than once on a sharp edge. And after painting, it's time to just do a little bit of branding. You'll be amazed at how much difference a small piece of detail makes to how people view a product. These quite simply are stencils I bought offline, and you can order them in any shape or size, or even have custom ones made for your own designs. Touch of polyurethane just to stop any marks getting put on this if people are going to slam some keys down onto it, and we're into the beauty shots. Another project done that I think's come out quite well. So coming in at around £20 for each one of these, it's nice easy money out of scrap material. Every time you make something, reinvest it back into your workshop. If you're really savvy and you've got the market for it, you can personalise these and charge that little bit more, which also means that you're bringing more revenue into your workshop. Project 3 is some chopping boards and charcuterie boards, but what I want you to see here is the value of shopping around. I'm going to show you the size of this timber the best I can. I'm 6 foot and this thing's taller than I am. There's a good argument that it's thicker than I am as well, but we'll leave that for you guys to decide and let me know in the comments. The reason I'm putting this one in there is because it's amazing what you can find if you keep your eyes and ears open to the deals that are around you. I replied to an advert on Facebook Marketplace where a joinery shop was closing down. I managed to get this board for £10, which is an absolute steal. Not only that, I got another 5 more as well. What this allows is, one, good value for hardwood, but secondly, it means that when you're making a chopping board or charcuterie board, you can use different species of wood, which will enhance the level of the board that you're producing. Better board, more money. The maths is quite simple. So once we've brought this board down into something more manageable, it's time to get it through the wood muncher. For this, I've made a homemade jig. This allows it to keep level all the way through. Now, there is one thing that I really do like about projects like this, and I'll let you into a secret. It lets you get down into places like this. Places that are full of scraps that you've hidden. I've got these things hidden all over the place, and on this occasion I've got some lovely birch scraps that are going to add some detail to this board. The more you can use up from leftovers and scraps, the more money you're going to make on the items that you're selling. Right, that's the planing all done. The sun's finally out, so it's onto the driveway to chop this piece down a bit. I'm going to cut it to the thickness of my birch scraps, as they're about the right size for a chopping board. So this is what I'm left with, 6 really nice thick strips, plenty of width on it. What I think I'm going to do though, I'm going to put these 3 together, take these 3 over here, my birch scraps in, and I think I'll have this one as a bit of a charcuterie board, and this one as a traditional chopping board. Now another reason that I like this build is because of the tools that I'm using. This bandsaw came from a supermarket, it was about £80. This jigsaw came from a different supermarket, it was £10, albeit that was about 10 years ago and it is one of the first tools that I had. But the reason why I mention this is to show you that you don't have to have a workshop full of Festool and Makita and DeWalt, like that drill, to make all these sort of projects. Basic tools can do the job for you. Also, if you buy enough tools while doing the food shop, your wife stops sending you. That means more time in the workshop. Now in the end I wanted this board slightly wider, so I found yet another offcut. This time it's walnut, and this has really made this a tri-coloured board effect, and I think it's fantastic. And with a quick polish up, and before you know it, got 2 boards. A nice chopping board and a nice charcuterie board. Now I was absolutely gutted when this chopping board sold because I loved it so much with that walnut strip on the end. However, I soon got over it because I got £40 for it. You can't complain getting money back like that. The charcuterie board sold for £20. So from some scraps and a £10 lump of wood, I managed to turn £60 and plenty more left over for other projects. Now the final project today would be a dead easy one to overlook, and that is these homemade hardwood mallets. This again is what I call an all-profit product. That's because it scraps. Quite simply, raid your scraps bins, get a couple of different species, and away you go. These things are great when you can personalise them. It's an easy one to overlook by thinking, as woodworkers, we can all make a mallet. You'll be amazed at how many people will get one engraved with Dad's 50th, Granddad's workshop, that type of thing, where somebody likes to go out and have a garage workshop just like you and me, but they're not particularly woodworkers. These are great gifts and easy money. You can find loads of designs and measurements online for these, but if you've already got one, why not just take some referential markings? Now that we've got all the pieces that we want, It's quite simple. I'm going to glue them together, the contrasting one in the middle. Now, you may not have a lathe of your own. This one here cost me £60 on Facebook Marketplace, and it's really helped me expand my small business. But if you've not got one, so next time you're at your hardwood shop or a turning supplier, they will have these dowels already stocked, already cut, and you can pick them up for just a couple of pounds each. We have a couple of mallet heads drying, and we have 2 handles made and ready to go, all with finger holes. Now that I've got my blocks out at clamps, I'm going to look at cutting them down and shaping them. I'm going to go with a table saw because I've got a blade on it that's got more teeth, gives a finer cut than my mitre saw. That's a little bit of a butcher, is that thing. I'm going to use my mitre gauge and a clamp just to hold it because it's a little bit small, and fire it through to about a 7 or 8 degree angle. After a couple of goes through the table saw, I'm left with 2 heads. One that's slightly more refined with some angles, and another one that's squarer, a bit more bulky, but I like them both in their own ways. Now certainly for this bigger one, we're going to have to look at doing something a little bit more fancy, just to take your eye off how big and square it is. Time for a quick sand now. We've got some 120 and a little bit of light filling to do. Attaching the mallet head to the handle should be quite easy in theory. I'm just insetting a hole with a small one in the middle for a big dowel, and then clamping them together. So I think these two came out absolutely fantastic, and I've kept these two as a demonstration so I can show other people my work. Selling these for around £15 to £20 each, it's a great use of scraps, and again it adds up to that running total of what you've got to spend on upgrades or maybe other woods or anything that you want for your workshop. So that's the end of another build video. I hope you've got some good ideas for things that you can sell and make some money to improve your workshop just like I'm trying to do. If you've got some value out of this, hopefully you'll hit that like and subscribe button because it really helps a small guy out like me. But until next time, I'm Ross, this is Fat Hog Woodworking, and I hope you have some good and productive time in your workshop.